with the lawsuit that you filed, what are you hoping comes out of that? Best case scenario, you're like, we got everything we wanted.
Oh, best case scenario, we get everything we want. We want a jury trial. We want to go before a jury. We want the evidence to come out. We want to hear, we want to read all the redacted information. We want all the information so we can know what happened.
Oh, Zion, dear Zion, home of the free.
This Defending Utah presentation brought to you by the Defending Utah Liberty Store, the new book, The United States Constitution Made Easy, by Lonnie D. Crockett, Ph.D., Anderson Accounting, Trust Plumbing, Higher Calling Firearms, Mini Zoo Comes to You, American Appliance, The Editor Lady, Shem Financial Services, and the law offices of Garrett T. Smith. Just going to hit record so we can get the audio. So, how are things going out there?
Pretty good. Busy as ever.
Cool. So we'll just go ahead and we'll just get into it. So thanks a lot, Jeanette, for joining us, and just would like to have you give our listeners an update on what you guys are doing and what they can do to help.
Well, we're doing quite a bit. We have filed the wrongful death complaint. You can find it in its entirety on our website or on, I believe it's just on YouTube, so you can find it.
And that's the website's onecowboystandforfreedom.com.
Correct. There's also a legal fund button there, so if anybody's interested in helping us in that way, you can find that there as well. But we have been very, very busy. Our attorneys worked very diligently getting that prepared. They didn't have much time, by the way. I made a transition late in the game again, and for reasons I'm not going to go into, but Morgan and Rick stepped up to the plate. I was really thrilled that the case was dismissed in Nevada, so then they could then in return start working on my case. And so I was just thrilled that they were willing to come on board. And I feel like our family is really benefiting from that because of their expertise in the legal world, but also because of their work in Oregon and in Nevada in cases that are related to mine. So they have an enormous amount of information that they're privy to already without even starting our discovery phase. So that's wonderful. So I'm really grateful to Morgan and Rick
game pretty fast.
For coming on. Say that again?
It just puts them ahead of the game, just right off out the bat.
It really does. It really does. And I think the Lord had his hand in it. I believe that. And we just had to be patient for the right people to get involved.
Great.
In our case.
Great. So if they go to the website and they can kind of find out what's going on, do you have any updates, like anything kind of interesting that's kind of popped up that kind of tells us what direction we're going in, or anything you'd like to share specifically?
Well, we're just in that beginning phase of waiting to send out subpoenas.
Okay.
We're waiting for that phase to come to light. Most of them are waiving notice. Mm-hmm. And so we'll just wait and see how that turns out. We are going to then start hoping to get all of the discovery and subpoena evidence, and that's going to take some time for all of that to come in. So it's going to be slow moving from what I understand, and my attorneys continue to tell me everything moves pretty slowly. So I'm learning to have my patience hat on.
That's always really hard to do. Speaking of patience, have you gotten the truck back?
No.
That is amazing.
They won't even let my insurance company or the finance company look at the truck. It is still considered evidence, therefore they're letting no one look at it.
How is it evidence if the case has been thrown out?
The case of my husband.
Oh, I was thinking maybe it was not evidence in the murder, not evidence in the Mollier thing. Gotcha. Wow. Right. So if it's evidence, shouldn't discuss? if it's part of evidence in discovery, will it be available to your attorneys, or how will that work in discovery for evidence?
Yeah, I would assume that everything will be available to our family and to our attorneys in that phase of the trial.
Gotcha. That's amazing.
I'm looking forward to that too. But you know, they've had 2 years. They've had 2 years to reconstruct my truck.
It could be a completely different truck. So you said
it could be.
So was the truck not paid off at the time? It was still, you had the loan on it still?
Oh no, my husband had just purchased the truck. It was 6 months old. It was a brand new truck.
Oh wow.
2016, I believe.
So the bank's trying to repo
it
from the state then, huh?
No, the bank has been very gracious. They know what has happened, and they've just been waiting to see what comes of it all.
Wow. If I was them, I'd try to repo it from the state.
Yeah, and we might get a look at it.
Exactly. Wow, that's really interesting. I didn't realize. Wow, that's amazing. So a while back, there was the case where I remember one of the troopers had either gotten fired or there were some charges filed in the relation to the death of Lavoie. Is there anything on that?
That was an HRT FBI agent FBI agent with the special team that came from Washington, not an officer from the state of Oregon.
Right.
So yes, he had 3 counts of falsifying evidence, falsifying statements, and 2 counts of tampering with evidence.
And what happened with that?
Nothing yet. We're still waiting to see. He did put in a motion to dismiss his case. The government has responded to his motion to dismiss, where some interesting facts came out in reading that document from the government, that there were, for instance, they ordered all of the officers to turn off their cameras that day. So, which is not standard practice.
Right.
Then during the investigation stage, when they were interviewing this particular FBI agent and the others that were with him, they requested no recording of that interview, which is also going against protocol.
Wow.
So we didn't know that before reading the government's response to his motion to dismiss. So it'll be interesting to see. And of course, there's redacted information in that document as well. And I would really love to be able to hear the testimony of the other FBI agents and what other evidence might be redacted. But we'll have to I don't know if we'll even get to see that in the discovery phase.
No kidding. Wow. Earlier, you posted a video from your website, the BLM whistleblower. Can you tell us about that?
Well, somebody had told me about him and that there was so much evidence in that, shocking evidence in that particular document. And I thought, I need to go get that. I need to print it out. So I looked it up online. I printed it out, and then it's 18 pages. And then I began to read it, and I was appalled. I was appalled at this information, and I was so elated and just grateful for this brave investigator, FBI investigator, to come forward. And I may have his title incorrect. He may be just an investigator within the BLM department, but he went through a lot of personal badgering from different people within his own organization, because he was gathering the evidence, and it was a don't ask, don't tell. It was, they made slanderous remarks, and he too was LDS, and so he could see what was going on. He could feel what was going on, and he knew that he was witnessing, and he was taking all the reports from other people that were making these complaints, and nothing was being done about anything that was being reported on any level in which the reports were being made. And so he was compiling all this evidence, and he was compiling it from, I believe, 2012 to 2000. He was released from that particular job, and they came in and they gathered up, all of his evidence and all of the paperwork. They came in and just took it all and relieved him of his duties. And before the report was officially filed. And so he is writing this whistleblower report based on his memory at this point. And so it's a very interesting report. It's worth anybody's read. Yes.
Gotcha. Awesome. Thank you. So with the lawsuit that you filed, what are you hoping comes out of that? Best case scenario, you're like, we got everything we wanted.
Oh, best case scenario, we get everything we want. We want a jury trial. We want to go before a jury. We want the evidence to come out. We want to hear, we want to read all the redacted information. We want all the information so we can know what happened. I know that there's other things that they're lying about, how they manipulated the evidence. I know there's more that they've manipulated. I want to see that. I want the officer held accountable who lied about firing those shots. I want the same officer held accountable for taking those shells away from a scene of an incident. I want some accountability starting to happen within our government agencies. It needs to start somewhere. We cannot just continue to pat them on the back, transfer them to a new office. They need to be held accountable. We are held accountable to certain rules and regulations, and if we break those rules and regulations, then we suffer the consequences for it. And these individuals within all of these ABC agencies throughout our government and our elected officials are not held accountable for anything that they do inappropriate or and my daughter says I say too much, so I apologize.
I think we all do.
They're not held accountable for anything that they do illegal or immoral or of any kind. And there's certain standards in which, and I find this very interesting in the whistleblower report. He names this, he states the code of conduct and the standards and the values within the BLM itself, none of which in his report are these individuals that he's reporting on. Are they following any of that standard? And we, the American people, we are their employer. We are their employer, and they need to be held to the same standard that we are held in our employment throughout our various different areas in which we work, in different fields in which we work. But they're not. They're just transferred to a new office, and they get to start all over in another place. And usually because they're not held accountable, they continue to repeat the same mistakes and behaviors.
Right. You think, especially because of the government power that they have over the everyday person's life, that they would be held to a higher standard because of the power that they do have. And so
you would think, but they're not. It's the opposite. And we, the people, need to start standing up and demanding better from these elected officials and from these people in which we hire in these different agencies. They need to be held accountable. They can't just be passed around and then given their pat on the back and their retirement plan and their medical benefit on our dime. It's our money. It's our hard work that is, just patting their way.
So for folks to find out the latest, what the updates and things that are coming up next and different things that you guys might need help with, is the best place to go to onecowboystandforfreedom.com? Or is there that's just the best way, just keep on going back to your website?
Yes, if they will go to our website, we are going to be a little more diligent in putting out weekly reports. We have a blog that you can click on from our website. The legal fund is there. My husband's book is there if you're interested in that. I believe there's also a link to our YouTube where some of these videos will be coming out. You can also catch all of that on our Facebook as well.
So what's the Facebook page again?
LaBoy Jeanette #Liberty Rising.
Gotcha. Yes, and people should read the book. And that's a book that I've said is great for everybody. My teenagers loved it. My wife loved it. I loved it. So I hope folks will, they haven't gotten your book. And you guys have a hardback edition now, which is awesome too.
Yeah, I was really pleased to be able to get that done. I really wanted that, especially for my children, just because it's kind of sentimental, something that they could hold on to for a long time. So there's a very limited amount of those. I think I'm down to only 45 books left, and I don't think I'll do it again. But, the more I look at my husband's book and read his book, the more I'm in awe that he was able to write such an amazing prophetic kind of book. You know, in just 5 months, he started it on his birthday, ended it on my birthday, and it has had very little changes made to it as far as editing. Yeah, you have to cross your T's and dot your I's and that kind of thing. But really, there's not much that's been changed about my husband's book. I'm amazed at his ability to connect us to a real life story that's happening and keep us involved in it. You don't want to put it down when you start it.
Absolutely. That's for sure. So Jeanette Finicum, onecowboystandforfreedom.com. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you soon.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah. This Defending Utah program was brought to you by the Defending Utah Liberty Store, where you can buy, among other things, the United States Constitution Made Easy by Lonnie Crockett, Ph.D. It was also brought to you by Anderson Accounting, 801-255-0396. Trust Plumbing, 801-808-5470. Higher Calling Firearms, highercallingfirearms.com. Mini Zoo comes to you, 801-414-5279. American Appliance, 801-254-2566. The Editor Lady at gmail.com. Shem Financial Services, 801-856-6151. The Law Offices of Garrett T. Smith, 385-439-0247.